Welcome to Twin Talk.
Twins by birth.
Weirdos by choice.
So, welcome. We are here to deep dive into all the strange and sacred
The ghosts, aliens, cryptids, and spirituality.
and all the woo and wonderful things that just come between that and in that. So,
We're your hosts, Actual Twins.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Taylor.
You may have seen us before on the True Divinity podcast, but here we are starting a whole new journey, a whole new project, coming together for Twin Talk. Dive
Cool.
into all the mysteries.
Yeah, anything that looks interesting, unexplainable, explainable, all that cool stuff.
Yeah, just here to kind of question everything. We're going to be doing some explorations, we're going to be doing some expeditions, we're going to sit here and do some Reddit stories, teach each other some stuff, have fun while we're doing it.
And hopefully you guys have fun as well. So today we're just going to introduce ourselves and our goals for our podcast. So as I said earlier, I'm Taylor.
I'm Caitlin.
And we're 27 years old. How old are we? And
26?
we're 26 years old
27.
and we live in Australia. Yeah, sorry about that. I just forget how old I am. And yeah, so we kind of first got into spirituality and stuff when we were little. But before then it was all the magical stuff.
Yeah, definitely been interested in anything that is just plays with your imagination and your concept of life and kind of brings a little bit more magic and spark to it. I don't know if that is a trauma response, trying to escape your own reality, but either way, we just found the concept of fairies and witchcraft and spiritual, all those things just lit up our minds and our creativity, I guess.
And I think because we were lucky, we're twins, that we used to play imaginary games and just live in our own little fantasy world when we were younger.
Oh yes, we used to. What was it called? Play Imagine or Imaginary?
I don't know. We'd just let's go play imaginary game.
Yeah, and we would spend hours in the backyard, hours every time we got home from school, just in completely different worlds in our heads.
Yeah, they'd be so this is who I am. This is what I do. This is the powers I have.
We're playing mermaids in the pool.
Yeah, yeah. So we had all those those dragonology books. Those.
Oh, we were obsessed with those ology books. Yeah. Piratology, dragonology, Egyptology, wizardology.
Yeah.
I reckon they were the ones that we had.
Yeah. I remember I definitely had the wizardology one, and stepmom, she literally there was a pattern in there to make a cloak and she made it for me. It was the best thing ever.
Oh yeah, and I got one too. We also liked that girl from Merlin.
Oh, that's
and she
right.
had
a
big cloak.
God, yes.
Yeah.
So we're into all that stuff. Obviously fairies as well. Who doesn't love fairies when they're little? Our nan used to make up these little fairy stories, and we actually believed there was fairies living in the backyard that would talk to the possum and
there are some fairies. You can't tell me that there's not.
Yeah. And even our stepmom, she would make these things called fairy rings, and we would go and make these fairy rings, and then somehow she would duck off to the shops, or maybe she would be prepared for when we would come and visit.
It was overnight, so she'd have the night to do it.
Yeah, true.
I guess.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so overnight. So you wake up in the morning and we'd just go to check our fairy rings, and there'd always be a Hubba Bubba and some other little lolly or a little something in there, and we'd be oh my god, the fairies came.
We were very into fairies. I think the Maribel, Trixie Belle, and Pixie Belle stories from Nan cemented that, and then we'd go and make little teepees out of sticks, and then that eventuated into Nan getting pebbles and marbles and little statues and stuff, and we'd go and make little gardens, and then we'd even make inside, if it was rainy, we'd get paper and make houses for the fairies. We were obsessed with the fairies. And then I don't know, Janelle got onto that vibe, and basically she taught us to make fairy rings. So we'd get stones and rocks and sticks, and we'd make a circle and put glitter in it, and then we'd have to dance around it or something and say something, and then when we go to sleep, we'd wake up in the morning and the fairies would have come and dropped off a gift in the fairy ring.
Yeah, that was the best.
We found out kind of sadly that wasn't true because we went and did it at home when we were not at our dad and stepmom's place, and so
Mum didn't really
mum
realize.
didn't know what was going on, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, making fairy rings, cool." And then when we woke up in the morning, there was nothing there. I think she called Janelle, and she's like, "Oh, the girls are really upset because the fairies didn't come to their fairy ring. Like, what do I do?" And then like randomly there were biscuits in there, and we're like, "We've seen these biscuits out of the cupboard. Like, this is this is this is like Santa all over again."
Oh, that was rough. So that was the start of it all, and then it kind of got more into the spirituality side. Remember for Christmas once I got like these oracle cards, and then we went to a place called Sassafras, and they have like this little witchy vibey shop. And I bought a book on how to read your auras and like this CD where it was like how to hear your angels. And I would play that CD in my CD player and try and remember what the angels' names were and like all this stuff. And I would also make Caitlin stand in the living room. I would just stare at her, trying to read her aura. And I remember like I'd do it so long my eyes would just sting and be watering at her. So that was the start of that.
Yeah, I feel like I definitely was more into like witchcraft or something first. Like I had a lot of like witchcraft book, and I like want to do like spells with like herbs and things and candles and stuff. And then I started kind of changing my vibe and like getting onto the oracle card stuff. And that shop in Sassafras we absolutely loved because it was just full of books and oracle card decks and CDs and stuff. And it was like an eye opener to that there's a whole world of spirituality, and there's so many different aspects of it, and there's so many different things that you can learn and do within that. And then you get excited because then you hear about runes, you hear about tarot, you hear about reading people's fortunes, reading people's palms. Like there's just so much aromatherapy. Like it just goes on and on and on. There's like a whole world out there.
I remember when we were little as well, like we were like, okay, when we grow up we're gonna own our own little shop and it's gonna be one of those shops, and we're like, you could do tarot cards at the back.
Yeah.
And then I'm not quite sure what you're gonna do.
No idea. I can't remember.
But yeah.
I still vibe with that though.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, I got those oracle cards, and then my nan had tarot cards and she showed me how to read them one day, and then I got right into all of that. And that was really cool.
Especially when you're like doing readings for yourself and then others and they're like so accurate, you're just like, well, there's something here. Like, am I magical?
I know, yeah. It's like eye opening. Yeah. I remember, oh my god, I don't know how young we were, but we went to our dad's and stepmom's, and I was like, alright, I'm doing a reading for you, to Janelle, and we did a reading, and she got the Empress card, and I was like, so this means that you might be having a baby. And little, like, we didn't actually know at the time, but Janelle,
well, I knew.
Caitlin had an idea because she saw like what prenatal tablets or something.
I was very observant as a child. I don't know if that's like a survival instinct, but she started keeping like a diary that we weren't allowed to see, and I found like prenatal tablets like at the very top, hidden at the back of the fridge, and that was just like a whole vibe. Something was different.
Something's happening. Yeah, and so then did she tell us that weekend, or did she tell us? I feel like maybe
no,
a little bit later.
It was a little bit later, and Janelle sat us down and told us, and we were like, yeah, we know.
I was like, oh my god, my reading was right. Yeah, and then we got into the Ouija board. So Janelle showed us how to do a Ouija board. We were probably too young to be doing it, but you know, it's all a game at the start until you realize that hey, this actually is kind of serious stuff if you don't know what you're doing.
Oh, it actually works. I think Janelle just like, cause she'd done it once at a party when she was younger, and she thought it would be like a fun thing to do because she liked stuff like that. We probably asked her to do it, to be honest, and then she didn't realize it was like gonna work. And then that kind of opened a whole portal of things, not like spiritually, but like we're like obsessed with it. Like, oh my god, I need to learn more about ghosts and like what happens after you die, and like we could probably be clairvoyant and like mediums, and like we should tap into this and we should do more Ouija boards, and like just became like a real thing. Especially when Thomas was born, he was born with gifts as a child, like you know how young people can see things, and he'd say and see a lot of stuff, and we were like,
yeah, they say that at a certain age the
like your
see or
senses.
hear a different frequency then, and like you grow up and it cuts out. So like it's actually like a
Do you
whole.
think fear cuts that out of us?
Oh, true as well. Yeah, I can. Yeah, you just don't really. You're just so open to it,
Mm.
but also yeah, it's always at that age where they're just learning to talk. So it's always like, damn, you can't be like, there's this man. He looks like this. He's saying this. It's just like someone, man. You're like, what? Where? In the corner.
What do you mean? And then things started getting spooky at Dad's house, and I don't think we did as many Ouija boards because,
Yeah.
well, that house was old and already had some vibes going around it, and then it just, I don't know if it's just like negative energy builds on negative experiences and energy, and I think when like there is that overall energy in a space or things aren't so like positive, or if there's any like toxic behaviors and thoughts, like it can kind of like feed and bring on that type of stuff. Like I remember when I was living in a unit with my ex, I already knew that there was something not right about that place, but it just like got worse and like fed on all of the horrible things that were like happening within that unit.
It was such a small, dark place too. Like I feel like
Yeah.
it could just really
Yeah,
ruin.
it was really brewing in there. So I
Mm.
think that can make a difference, definitely.
Yeah, so that's how our curiosities and everything began, and then it's just gone on from there. And then as we've gotten older, we've had responsibilities and work and stuff and life, and you just get a bit distracted.
I think you kind of come and go. Like I remember being a
Mm.
teenager and we had a friend who was into that stuff, so we'd go over to her house and we'd be able to do that stuff. But when you live in a small country town and like nobody that you know is into any of that stuff, it's really hard. When you have like a friend who kind of has that same interest and you can do meditations and cards and read books and stuff together, it's like really important. But then yeah, your priorities change and things happen, so I feel like we kind of lent in and out of spirituality as we were growing up.
And now we're kind of just not getting back into it, but really like we want to experience and talk about it a lot more. And we thought, hey,
definitely already back into it.
Yeah.
Like that was inevitable.
Yeah.
But now we just want to share. I think
have an excuse for this podcast to like
like personally I think I went through another like kind of spiritual awakening in my early mid-20s. That's kind of led me to where I am now. A lot of inner healing, a lot of work, a lot of therapy, and massive manifestation journey. And then obviously I started my podcast because I wanted a chance to talk about things like this, and I feel like I didn't have that in my community. And I've done women's circles where I've met a lot of like-minded women and people. Like there is actually a lot of like-minded people now in the world, and it's become less of a taboo conversation and people are more intrigued and interested in it. But yeah, we just want an excuse to be able to, well, Taylor jumped on my podcast a couple of times and we just have fun. And I think we really just kind of like have different personalities and energies that kind of complement each other. And so we just want an excuse to hang out, spend more time with each other and explore this stuff, because every time we see each other, like, oh my God, we just like want to do a meditation. We want to connect to aliens. We want to do a Ouija board. We want to just like do each other's cards. We want to just do something. We just kind of get on this like momentum. So yeah, and then this kind of gives us an avenue to explore a whole new range of things. I'm going to have like a new car set up soon, so hopefully we're going to be able to go to some sites. Taylor's done a little bit of paranormal like investigating in the past, so we might add that element into it, but then also just going out to like sacred natural features and doing meditations where there's, you know, high energy, and seeing what we can kind of tap into there.
I started a ghost hunting YouTube channel for a little bit there, and so now I've got the K2 and the REM pod and those kind of things. So yeah,
that would be fun.
Yeah.
So we've got big visions. We're probably gonna have a lot of just like couch chats like this and just go over theories, but then we're also gonna have like some like vlog like content as well. So
in the future we're hoping like maybe we can make like a Reddit thing, or you guys can just reply to the podcast. I think you can comment on Spotify and stuff, and on YouTube. Any ideas, any theories, any things that you're interested that you want us to explore or places you think we should go, we do live in Australia, so be mindful of that.
We're probably going to be focusing on more Victorian places at the moment. I think we definitely want to like look into the old historic towns where there's a lot of more like gold mining, like energy and things like that. Maybe some old asylums, probably some natural features like mountains and that kind of landscape where there's higher energies. And then there we can experiment with ritual, with meditation, things like that.
Alien UAP contacting, like, you know, see if there's any energy portals or vortexes in these places that have such high.
Yeah, I think the natural features, like personally, there's also a part of me that just wants to go explore these places because I love hiking and stuff. But I think naturally in a lot of ancient cultures and traditions that they really value the land and nature and animals, and I think that is for a reason. I think there's a lot of magic, a lot of tokenism, a lot of energy and frequency that sits in our natural abundant landscape, and Victoria and Australia is so vast within that landscape. So I feel like seeing what different elemental energies like hold from different places that we go to will be interesting as well.
Definitely. Yeah. So get king, guys. Yeah, so that's who we are. That's our goals.
So this is a little intro. Episode 1 will be coming out soon, and yeah, we look forward to having you a part of our journey and coming along with us. And we will see you soon.
Bye.
Peace out.